Hello, people of Earth. This is Tesco with Rip Kenny and Trap Jesus, and you're listening to the Human Music Podcast. Woo!
Human Music Podcast. I like it.
Yo, what's up, everybody? My humans. This is Luke Rain, aka Trap Jesus, on the Human Music Podcast. Here, as always, with Tesco and Rip Kenny. And this week, we have a very special guest, my good homie Sam Shoemaker. He's a really dope artist out here in Seattle, where I'm at. He has collectively millions of streams across platforms, and we've come out with a lot of tracks together. He's got a lot of tracks that I had nothing to do with that I also love. And we're going to get into a lot about self-promotion today, becoming a successful artist, not just in your own right, in your own studio, but out to the rest of the people in the world, because that's the other half of the equation, right?
Yes, it is. And it's funny, too, because as you guys remember, I left us on a bit of a cliffhanger last time with three tips and tricks to get your Spotify numbers really hammering and get your algorithms primed. But basically, my tips are just the light version in this conversation, because our boy Sam's, he's really doing it. I'm getting the reins a little bit. I'm starting to pull back on him, get some action. But our boy Sam's really the heavyweight here. So I'm gonna start with what I thought was heavyweight tips that are now lightweight, and then we'll get to the real heavyweight. But okay, so 3 tips. The cliffhanger that I left you on last time. Basically, I went from fucking shit for monthly listeners to 3,000 monthly listeners, and then all of a sudden when that latest collab with Ill Gates dropped, now I'm at like 58,000 monthly listeners. And the reason all of this culminated is because 3 things that in combination work really well. The first is running, so it's basically like 3 types of Facebook, Instagram ads, and 1 type of native Spotify ad. So I guess it's actually a 4-part system. So I can't count. Part 1.
I'm not even doing native Spotify ads. I'm about to learn.
This isn't a human mathematician podcast. We don't need to be able to count. I guess counting to 4 is actually pretty vital for me.
Yeah, I should definitely.
I retract my statement.
If I'm going to make 4 on the floor music, I should definitely be able to get to 4. I don't need 5, but I do need 4. Okay, so part 1, Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger stories that lead on a short link to your Spotify profile. The cost per click on this, without using a Facebook pixel, just letting Facebook basically use its algorithms to determine who the best audience for that, target sound-alike artists, and you can drive relatively cheap traffic to your Spotify profile. Now, the reason that's important is because it's coming from different sources. It's not just people clicking a link from any one given spot and coming to your Spotify, because that data aggregates. Basically, it's as if people were searching for your profile and landed on your profile from multiple different locations. So Spotify sees that as like, people are interested in this person, right? You're driving traffic to your profile specifically. So that helps with the basically, anyways, I'll get to the full package later. So that's step 1. Step 2 is in-feed ads that run basically a Facebook pixel conversion on a landing page. I use HypeEdit or whatever for this, but you basically can set up the HypeEdit pixel configuration with the ads to track and basically manage that conversion of clicking on that. And that link takes you to a Spotify playlist that you have created that starts with like 5 or 6 of your songs and then moves into a bunch of other music that's like yours, that people that like your music are going to like. And then you filter some more of your songs through. So I have like a playlist of like 40 songs that just through running this campaign has gotten that playlist to like 500 followers. And those streams are going to last because I've really tried to make that playlist like my favorite fucking songs of all time that are related to my music. So if anyone likes my music, they're going to like the rest of the shit on there, and then they're going to follow that playlist and they're going to come back to that, and it's just going to generate more and more plays. So that's step 2. Basically in-feed ads that run to that playlist that you track with the custom conversion on a Facebook pixel. Step 3 is coming up with some sort of other related content that is exclusive. So for me, I have a bunch of like punk rock or so Linkin Park, My Chemical Romance remixes. I have like 3 or 4 of them that I basically run ads for another custom conversion of a download gate, which is you have to follow my page, you have to follow the playlist, and then give me your email. But because it's like an exclusive piece of unreleased content that literally doesn't exist anywhere else on the internet, like you can justify someone having to do those steps to get that thing, right? So that's like step 3, and that gains followers and also additional followers on the playlist. And then native Spotify ads, you make a 30-second ad. The middle 10 seconds are you like talking and explaining about the song and telling everyone to click the listen now button or whatever, just seem casual, and then drop them into like the best part of the song, like right after that. And the combination of doing those 4 things, basically having the stream counts and the Spotify ad drops you into that playlist too, with the song that you're promoting being the first song, right? So a lot of this is based on that kind of playlist strategy where for 1 click that would normally result in 1 stream, you're getting like maybe 8 streams of your music on average. So it definitely bumps that like the cost per stream down to a reasonable rate, which, you know, at like 17 cents per stream, that's like just not really enough. But if you're getting to like 2 cents per stream because each click ends up in like 8 streams, I would say that's a long-term solution. So you run like $5 a day in all of those. Spotify ad spend minimums are pretty high. It's like $250, but you can reach that out over a year if you wanted to, and that would make the cost per day really low. So the combination of those, the reason that that's important, you have to do all of those things because it filters traffic from different locations onto your profile, onto your music, and that will trigger the playlists that aren't gatekeepered, the playlists that are literally sitting in everyone's fucking phone already. Discover Weekly and Release Radar. Finally, when Discover Weekly picked up the song that I had been promoting, now I get like 8,000 streams a week from just Discover Weekly, from people just having it on their phone. And that's way fucking better than I was getting before. And it's all native people that like my music, that are going to follow and continue to like other shit that I'm putting out after that. So it's a real strategy that you can use to snowball basically all of this work that they're doing to put out good music, to find people that like your music and actually get real results that you can feel good about the ad spend rather than paying money down the drain without a strategy that you know is going to work, right? So those are my top tips that I have learned.
That you're way more advanced than me. I know everything that you're talking about. The only thing that I have on you at all is time. Is the amount of time that people have been listening to my music. I think at least in terms of if I've done more streams, because what you're describing right now is an incredibly. Let's get to square one. Can I go now? Can we back?
Yes, please.
Hell yeah.
Get to square one. If there's one thing that I would change about what I've done, if I could do it again, I wouldn't have spent the first 2.5 years of making music worried about making an album that almost nobody was going to listen to or ultimately care about. And I learned a lot from making that album, and I became better at making music from making that album. And it was literally my first time recording music ever. And so it was a long process of just learning all that shit, from mic discipline to just everything, how to record takes, how to layer vocals, all that stuff. So the process still taught me something. It is what it is. But the truth of the matter is that if Spotify is a strategy that you want, then there is a certain thing that ultimately works for that strategy. For it to materialize, your music has to be good. like listenable good.
Yeah.
Like not, I mean, like my favorite artist of the last 10 years is undeniably Kendrick Lamar. But like, there's only so many people that could do what Kendrick does. I mean, there's only one Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
He's almost the only person that could make an album like To Pimp a Butterfly that would be universally received, loved, and listened to repeatedly, because it's so dense, it's so layered, it's so complex, it's so meaningful. And that's ultimately not the strategy. If you want Spotify to respond, and you want listeners who listen to music on Spotify frequently to respond to what you're doing, that's ultimately, like, it's a valiant thing to do. And if you want to be that artist, then be that artist. But that's not the kind of music that's going to take off immediately. And it took me a while to learn that. And I've really only started implementing that in like the last year and a half. Is like, there's a reason certain things do really well on these streaming platforms, and they have to be catchy enough. There has to be something that immediately grips the listener enough so that they don't skip on to the next thing. And then even in certain genres, like repeatability is a big thing. I really like making 4-minute concept songs, but they just don't go like that. They don't go. And so the name of the game in terms of the algorithm, well, I mean, there's a lot of things, and you covered all of them beautifully from an ads perspective, but Spotify's AI is incredibly intelligent, and it's keeping track of everything in your song, from like even the way your song is structured from an audio standpoint, to how long people listen before they press skip, how many times they listen to it, and it's collecting all that data, and then it's actively working for you, and it's actively working to find other people who are going to like that. That is its job. It wants to find that. It's also keeping track of people that don't like it, and if your song's not getting, if enough listeners aren't listening to enough of your song for the algorithm to justify shooting it out to other people, then it's just not going to happen. So that's kind of square one. Is like, you got to have like music that has some catchiness to it, it's something that people want to listen to, and that sounds really obvious, but it's really hard for a lot of us as artists to get there.
Does anybody here know what that time limit cutoff is for Spotify to assume that people liked your song? It's 30 seconds.
I was going to say, I was going to assume 30 seconds.
Is the cutoff. If people listen to 30 seconds of it, they'll assume, all right, they probably dug this song.
Yeah.
And especially if that person is like cutting through stuff and like dropping, oh, this is good, I'll put it on this playlist. Mm-hmm. As opposed to like, you listen to the first 20 seconds and you're like, and you just cut to the next song.
And that's the thing, right? So yeah, streams are important. Like the amount of time somebody's actually listening to your song is important. It's keeping track of how many people are saving your track. That's really important. And the save rates can bounce from, I've had songs that the save rate is like 6 or 7%, but it did 250,000 streams, and like that's solid. That's fine in that range. A song I just dropped the other day, I'm not running any of the ads to it yet or anything like that. It's done something like 1,500 streams in a couple of days, which isn't crazy. The Discover Weekly will kick in soon and shoot it out again. On Wednesday, it'll revamp, but it got saved like 400 times out of that. So it's getting to people that really, really like it. It's getting to people that are really vibing with it. And what I've learned is like, that's almost better than your absolute number. Like the amount of listens, the amount of streams per song you have, and you alluded to that as well, the amount of saves in that. My absolute numbers have gone down in the last few months. But the amount of streams per song I have gone up, which means that I'm actually getting to people who that's my fan base right there. And so that's really, really important. From a strategy standpoint, getting to the technical stuff now. So yeah, square one, have good music. that people want to listen to. I think even if you don't like his music, I think XXXTentacion was really, really fan-fucking-tastic at understanding how this stuff worked and how he packed and structured his albums with 2-minute songs that were all like really instantly gripping and vibey, and his shit just it went crazy. It went crazy on Spotify, and people are listening to that album multiple times because it's got 12 to 15 songs that are all 2 minutes long. But they don't feel 2 minutes because he was really great at making music, and so they feel like full songs. That's really important. And honestly, until you got that, I wouldn't really throw money, time, and energy and concern behind the rest of this stuff that we're going to talk about. I think that square one is really important.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Yeah.
I think that having that mentality of like, a lot of people want to make these long epic pieces of music and, but that's dope if you've got people that want to listen to it already, but there's something to be said for the 2-minute song. If you gave them 2 minutes of something they love start to finish, that gripped them so thoroughly in the first 30 seconds that they had to keep listening. And even maybe the first 10 seconds gave them something they're like, whoa, what's going on here? I need to know. Not having long drawn out, slow intros, and then making it a short enough song so that it's what is the algorithm going to like more? A song that was so long that they liked it but didn't really have time to finish it, or a song that was so short that they liked it and had to press start over. Let me hear this again.
Yeah. It's huge. Yeah.
I mean, Gucci Gang gets clowned a lot, but as a Spotify track, that's a genius song.
Yeah.
Extremely catchy chorus right out the gate. One rap verse, extremely catchy chorus. Let's go home.
Yep. And I wanted to ask, we've talked about like the technical stuff and I think that's all like crucial to know as an artist, and obviously you can't underestimate the importance of having that good music. But one thing that piqued my curiosity, I saw on your Instagram, you shared a stat from your Spotify. Almost 600 people had you as their favorite artist. And I was wondering what sort of perspective. No?
Yeah, no. It was just
okay.
I'm still astounded by it. I still think it's
crazy.
Cool, dude.
So a lot of people don't have those numbers, but they're chasing these Spotify metrics. I was curious, what are you doing to engage with your fans? What have you found has really worked to create that communication between you and your fan base that I think a lot of people are missing nowadays? They're going for the vanity metrics, but they don't have that like core fan base that cares about them. Was there anything specific that you did, or was it just the music pulling all those people in?
No, it was, for better or worse, I am myself all the time, and that can be alienating or it can be very attractive.
I think it has to be both though, right? Like you're never going to please everybody. If you pick who you are, you be who you are, say what you think and feel, you are definitely going to alienate some potential fans, but they're the potential fans that weren't really going to be your fans in the first place as soon as they found out who you really were. Like if you have political stances or social stances or whatever that you really believe in, and that's reflected in your music, say them loudly and proudly, because certain people will love you way more because of that and be your real fans because they like you through and through as an artist and a person.
Yeah, no, and it's 100%, man. Yeah, it's interesting. I no longer think we're in the era of it's weird. Like the things that have worked so well to blow up so many people are also I think psychologically and subconsciously we're aware that they're bullshit, and so I kind of think that there is this. I think that there is this yearning and this craving for genuine, authentic connection. And just authenticity and being genuine. And I did a couple of tours, longer tours, and man,
I saw you and Luke perform at, what was that venue in Seattle? And
Columbia City Theater.
Columbia.
Yeah,
that was the best show.
You're a good performer, man. You're a good performer.
That was the last show I did, and it was by far the best fucking show I've ever had.
It was a good ass show, dude. It was a good ass show. I was so happy I showed up for that. Both the openers were fucking killer, and then you smashed it. It was such a good show.
And I gotta be honest, man, having Luke be so hands-on with that and knowing that the arrangements were there and that I didn't have to worry about that part, it was just pushing tickets and enjoying it. And that's the first time I ever beginning to end enjoyed the shit out of it. And so that was kind of the culmination actually of these tours, man. I was not always I could always, like when I used to rap really fast and that's what I did, I could always impress people because my cadences were clean and like I had energy. I was never like scared or in my shell, but like the truth is like being able to move and vibe and be comfortable and have fun and be magnetic. That shit is so attractive. And that I went on a couple of back-to-back tours. One of them was really long. One of them was a couple of weeks. Mainly because music for me has always been about alienating myself to the degree where I get to grow. And I knew that I needed to become comfortable being uncomfortable. And when you do 40 shows in 20 states in 60 nights, and you're on a bus with people that you don't really like, and it's a constant grind. Like eventually, like it stops becoming so mentally taxing to perform, and that becomes the fun part. And I made sure to really be nice to people out there. I made sure to be nice to people, and the people that stayed connected with me, I stayed connected to. I'm not. It's weird. By learning how to do Facebook ads, I ended up starting my own digital marketing first side business. Now it's like my main revenue stream, and I'm much better at doing it for other people than I am myself. I get lazy on the content sometimes. I'll post some political shit on Facebook every day because it's just who I am, or some just sassy being a dick shit. But I. Like sometimes my IG goes like this. Sometimes I'll drop a lot of videos in a couple of months and then nothing will happen for a while. I'm kind of inconsistent, but what I am very, very consistent on is I did connect with people, and when they send me a message, I do respond. And I'll be honest, some of that was me at first. It's like fake it till you make it. Like I don't inherently want to respond every time. But I made myself do it enough because I was like, look, like these people actually care enough to reach out and be like, oh, I'm going through this shit right now, blah, 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 blah. It's not that I'm going to get a fan out of it. It's just like, just be a decent person and let that work. And so when I saw that it was like 586 or 590 or something like that, people listened to me more than any other artist on Spotify last year, I thought it was really good. And then I talked to a lot of other artists in the Seattle area that I know, or people that are connected to them, and they were like, nobody got that many. And that's fucking crazy. And then I became really, really humbled. And I think it's because I've done that stuff that actually I can't quantify. It's not in a spreadsheet. I don't have the solid data on that. But I take the time to do it.
Dude, that's such an important lesson for people, because people trying to make it in today's music industry believe that you could just game your way into, like, you game your way to plays, game your way to good music, game your way to fans. But like at the end of the day, like all of the metrics and like even with the best music, the people that win are the ones that have listeners, that have fans that listen to your music and associate with themselves. They're like, this is me. Like this, like this person gets me. This music represents what I think and feel and how I live. Like those are the types of connections that are nurtured through those personal one-to-one interactions, and through doing a really good job with being yourself and being authentic on all your socials, and through going through that longer, more difficult, nuanced process of really getting people to see what you're doing and believe in what you're doing and associate with it on a personal level. That's the shit that lasts.
Yeah. 100%.
That's the shit that goes song to song to song and everyone's fucking stoked on. That's the shit that actually gives you a career rather than all of the game your way to the top stuff, you know?
Yeah, and we always think about this like, oh, I'm trying to get 1 million plays or 1 million fans or whatever, but that doesn't happen without one person that connects to you on an actual personal level 1 million times over. Yeah. And so you've got to start when you have, 0 fans, just connect with one person, and then a second, and then a 10th, and then a 50th. And every time, you're on social media and somebody cares enough about you and your music to reach out, reach back, thank them, answer the question, interact, make a joke, whatever's your personality.
I answer every comment. I reply to every comment. I reply to every comment on every post and on it takes hours sometimes.
Respect.
Even if I don't do it that day, within 48 hours, every single comment that somebody makes on a YouTube, and I see on a YouTube video or on my Facebook video or whatever, I always reply to the comment. And it's as simple as usually a heart react and saying, I say mostly the same thing, but I mean it every time. And I'm just like, I'm so humbled and grateful that you connected with this and I made something you connected with and blah, 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 blah. It's tedious, but like, damn, they took time to do that. And if you're not fucking internationally famous yet, what's your excuse? The other thing though is that it's not binary. There are some people that make a song and people fuck with it and they blow up. There are some people that are industry plants and some A&R in the industry is like, this guy's got next, and they push them up the pipeline and they put a shit ton of money into them and they have their major connections with huge radio stations and Sway in the Morning and blah, 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 blah. And they do the deal. There are still plenty of people that that's their path and they become famous. It's not my path. My path is very, very weird and non-linear. And so it's, man, I wish I was cool. Like, I really do. I wish I was cool. I wish I was the cool guy. I wish I was like the cool guy that's kind of a dick that got like famous and was just like, fuck it. These peasants don't know anything and all that. But like, that's just not what the universe gave me. That's not the tool. That's not the toolkit, the skill set, the experience, the path. So like, it turns out though this way is incredibly rewarding. My soul is free. My conscience is clear. My side of the street's clean. All that shit. And I get to really love making music, and it does what it does. And I spend way too much money on ads promoting it, but they do have an ROI, and it does get easier. So
Dude, there's this one thing that I heard a while ago that I just thought was cheesy as fucking hell, but now I realize like it's actually fucking really relevant. It was something about like Taylor Swift and like her first manager. She was like, I want to sell 500,000 records. And her manager was like, if you want to sell 500,000 records, you need to meet 500,000 people. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah. And now I'm like, fuck, yeah, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually fucking how that shit works. It's crazy.
Okay.
Man, what I wanted to say is that's such a testament to how bad you want it and how clear you were able to look at the situation and be like, this is the hand I was dealt, not the hand that I wish I was dealt. You were able to look past that and be like, how do I use what I actually got and not try to shoehorn in what I want into reality and just let it pan out. And then actually putting the time to reply to everybody, like, that's the one thing, myself included sometimes, that I'm not the best at. But like you said, like that, the ROI of that is just incomparable to anything else. And that's the one thing people like, first thing they feel too cool to do, or they start to push it down their priority list. And it's just, if you want it, you're just going to be like, damn, that's rough. But if that's what it takes, let's get to it, versus, complaining about that shit. That's not going to get you anywhere.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm like, I'm solid at digital marketing, but I also kind of hate marketing terms because to me they're kind of very corporate and dehumanizing. But like it is multi-touch marketing too. I mean, it is somebody seeing your video, they're commenting on it, and then you go back again. Like there is a reason that there is a reason that marketing has been made mathematical in the manifestation of an algorithm, and it's because there is a calculus to how and when you acquire a client, a consumer, a fan, whatever you want to call it. And people usually, for the most part, unless it's just kind of, I don't know, daily bullshit items, that they impulsively buy. But for something like music, it's they are going to have to kind of trust you in a sense and kind of want to be your friend. And so, yeah, I don't know.
In your opinion, do you think that we're trending towards this route where more people are going to have to take up marketing skills? How do you feel about that for the average musician? Do you recommend everybody go out and start learning about this, or?
Big time. And here's why though. So, okay, I just said all of the right things, and they were all true. And I mean all of them on a very human level, human music podcast level.
Hey.
Boom. Simultaneously, there is another side to this. Yeah. And the other side to this is kind of some cold calculation and rationality. And the cold calculation and rationality I have is that I really enjoy authentically connecting with human beings, and I really don't enjoy like I'm not the guy that's going to be out at a show 7 nights a week. That's not how I enjoy living my life. And like to people that do, that's great. I'm not a clique person. To people that are able to form cliques or form community out of cliques or whatever, that's great. I'm not a status guy in terms of like, I genuinely just like gaining any ounce of like humility and being able to recognize like, look, like I'm a bald white dude in his early 30s that's making music. Like I'm not going to get on like Hot 97 LA or something like that. I mean, maybe I will. Maybe I'll have to badass track it. I'm not saying it won't happen, but like that shouldn't be my goal, right?
Yeah.
Just like getting there on that, I have to understand like who I am, and so like I really like being able to possess control over ultimately like what it is I'm doing and my own destiny, and like my failure or success will not be because of my lack of connections with other people. It won't be because I hung out at the right shows enough times and made the right friends in the right places enough times. There is something very liberating about the ads programs and processes that are in place. There's something very constraining about it too, because it is a skill set and it's an entire set of terminology and it's an entire language that you have to learn at least a basic amount about to be able to do it. But there's something very liberating about it too, that like at the end of the day, all bullshit aside, who my friends are kind of don't ultimately matter. Whether or not I went to 7 shows a week for 4 years and then somebody gave me an opportunity at this place or something like that, that ultimately doesn't matter. Do I have a budget? Do I have content? And can I find fans? That's it. That's what makes, and I don't have a career in music yet. I make something, I have an ROI now. I'm not in the profit margin yet, but like I have an ROI and it progresses and it gets bigger and better. But like at the end of the day, what I do know is that a music career is people that make music and fans that buy it. So my job is actually just to find those people. It's not to impress the gatekeepers.
Did you do any marketing before you got into that?
What's that?
Did you do any marketing prior, or this whole business you built stemmed from the whole music side of things?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's been really weird. It's been really weird. I am I'm an intellectual nerd. I am a social science intellectual nerd. I went to college and got a couple of degrees in sociology and political science. I love history. I love reading. I love talking about history. That's my forte. I reflexively don't like computers or working on computers. It took me a long time to get there. It was by the thing I said earlier about being just alienated enough to like constantly grow. And that's what music does for me, because doing music has been very uncomfortable for me until recently, where I had the confidence and I had the sound and the records, and just like now I just love it. It's just a joy. But I ultimately, I had this realization that like nobody was going to put me on, and I didn't really want to have to create inauthentic relationships to try to get to that place anyway. Actually, it started with a little bit of resentment, man. Like I never sold less than 50 tickets to a show. Never, not once. From the jump, I was always putting at least 50 people in a building, and multiple times on like a Wednesday night at like a local smaller place in Seattle, I would push 100 tickets. And I still wasn't getting the calls for like the shows and the bigger shows that I wanted. And I still wasn't getting like credit from like the community or whatever. And it started as a petty resentment that ultimately morphed into Facebook ended up calling me one day and being like, hey, we're rolling out a new ads program. You have an ads manager now. Like, we think your content could blah, 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 blah. Have you ever tried this? And I was like, you're trying to sell me some shit. You know what I mean? You want my money. And they were like, yeah, but like if you do well, then you're going to keep spending money with us. And I was like, okay, shit. So it started with just that, and just opening ads manager and just pressing buttons and seeing what worked and what didn't. Then one of the people that I went on tour with essentially built his entire independent career, that is a successful independent career, off of a mastery of Facebook ads. And he taught me how to really set up an ad. And we didn't get into all the different kinds of campaigns. It didn't get that complex, but he showed me how to get a video views ad that was engaging and building a fan base of people that will genuinely like the content. And once that happened, the floodgates kind of opened. I started playing around with the different kinds of ads. Okay, a traffic ad, an event response ad. Kept on getting better and better results. And then I have a buddy that's had a marketing business that he's kept intentionally small and very controlled for like the last 4 years. Randomly went and ate lunch with him, and he was like, you do Facebook ads? Shit, I'll pay you. And then we got more clients. And then as he got more clients and I started doing more work for them, then I was kind of on the job training while getting paid, but doing a good job and working hard. And then I learned how to use Google and do everything else too. So that's really been within the last year.
That's awesome, man. That's incredible.
But it's again, like it's the independence and the power potential that it has if you're an artist.
Right.
And yeah, go ahead.
Well, there's a lot of people that are just like working jobs that, aren't as suitable, or, right now during COVID have no jobs. And it's like, this is the prime time right now. Cause like you said, in a year, shit changed up that much for you. And for a lot of these people, I mean, shit, working for somebody doing ads, and you do that for a year, 2, 3, 5, however long you got to do your thing. Now you come out of this, you have the skill that you could start a side business with and do it here and there as you please. You can promote your music on this whole different level. And so it's like, that's a way to be like planning for your future while not directly doing music. So I think like a lot of people aren't even aware of what's really possible. And what you said is just a pure testament to that. Within a year, you're now promoting your own music and you have this really solid fan base locked in. Plus, you can do your own side business work. So takes thinking on that level if you want it bad enough.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Please.
I was just gonna say, one of the things
your ads are killing it, by the way. Is this like free space? Can I ask you a question real quick?
This year, so whatever you want.
What are you getting? What is your best ROI coming from?
Return on investment for anybody that might not know that acronym.
So I bypassed the direct to Spotify ads, which I know are cheaper and get more traffic. And I set up a ClickFunnels system and I have a tracking code applied to my an Apple Music button, a YouTube button, and a Spotify button, and then I'm running lead ads. I'm running conversion ads, which are expensive, but I'm running conversion ads on Facebook, and I own all of my data from it.
Yeah.
And like my best performing right now is getting like 20 cents per click, or 20 cents per lead, not per click, per lead though. So like they hit the funnel, and then they waited for the page to open up, and then they actually clicked the Spotify button on the landing page, which is a pretty nice chunk of data there. Like that's a lot of action somebody has to take. But yeah, so I was just wondering in your experience, because you're killing it. Yeah.
I'm just fucking trying and iterating as I'm sure you were. When they click that Spotify button, where do they land? Just on a specific song or on your profile?
Yeah.
Specific song? Yeah. I would say that honestly the cheapest is Spotify native. It's like roughly like 10 cents a land. But as Facebook's algorithm has gotten smarter, landing people on a similar like custom conversion, like I only pay per click, which ends up being more expensive, right? But I know that they clicked on it, and landing them on the playlist, in which I know from Spotify's data, the average streams is about eight streams.
So the playlist ad.
What's that?
So the playlist ad is because I've heard the playlist ad gives really good ROI.
It does. And the thing that I did not think about at the start that is just fucking killing it is that now there's 500 people on that playlist that love that playlist, and they go back. I don't have to pay for them to listen through all of my music again.
Right.
All of my music is in that playlist.
Right.
It's like a fucking Trojan horse. And because I really truly believe like all of my favorite music of all time that has influenced my musical stylings and everything, it's like just the best of the best of the best is in this playlist. People are going to listen to it and be like, fuck, this is sick. Like, even if they like think my music is okay, they're gonna be like, this is a sick playlist. And then like, I'm just going to get residual streams from it. But that honestly, so the cost per click is the same. Like I'm hovering around 20 cents per click on that. But
I feel better now. I feel better.
Yeah, but because it lands on something where from data I received from Spotify, I can assume that it's, probably between 4 and 8 streams from that one click. Now I'm at like, what, 2.5 cents if they streamed 8 songs? 2.5 cents per conversion?
Right. And so are you using a landing page for that one, or is that just
Yeah, it is. There's one of the, so obviously I didn't think of all this shit up on myself. I literally have been just like taking every $39 Spotify course I can find and then aggregating all of the best shit into my own secret sauce. But one of the ones was like from this dude that set up Hyped It or whatever, Hype Edit. I don't know how the fuck most people say it, but it's basically his system has a place where you can put in a Facebook pixel and it'll track the conversion and Facebook, you can make a custom conversion for it and Facebook will track and manage towards that conversion, right? So it's essentially the same thing, I believe, as your funnel, but there's only one button. It only takes people to Spotify. I don't have other buttons for other services, and I don't know if that's helping or hurting, but I think less options for the one thing that I'm really focusing on is probably good because I don't.
Yes. No, you're doing it the right way. I am on a long build, but I'm also literally, when we get done with this, going to implement. I have a really cool creative made up and all this shit, and I'm going to implement what you just recommended. Right. Like I've been waiting on it. It's weird. See, and this is the thing. I am so much better at telling other people what to do for marketing than I am for my own shit. I drag my feet all the time and I have fear about it. And it's very, very weird. And I've talked to other marketers that have a similar thing where it's harder to market for your own business than it is somebody else's. But I always lack faith
You're playing with your own money.
yeah, and it's true, and like that's a part of it too. Is like you want a solid ROI on what if you're doing it, but there's a tension there. There's a tension there. I don't know. Maybe I'm constantly riddled with existential crisis.
I feel like that goes hand in hand with music too. Like I feel some of my best shit that I've written over the years has been after like a period where I'm hating everything I write. Someone asks you, hey, you want to ghost produce this, or you want to like help me out with this? Bam, turns out being the best thing you've written since like all year, because you're not thinking about like, you're not too preciously attached to like some idea of what you have in your head. You're actually genuinely going along with the creative process. Yeah. Same with like the marketing. Like you know so much about your own product, it's hard to get that distance.
Yeah.
I wanna circle back around real quickly to some specifics on that funnel that you were talking about. So you're running traffic to your music from like Google searches?
No, I'm doing Instagram. I'm doing Instagram story ads.
Okay.
So it's through Facebook ads, but it's just IG story ads.
And then you run a custom pixel conversion on your ClickFunnels page?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, and I just have it targeted as lead. I have each of the buttons. I have each of the buttons on the funnel page with their own code on them, but I just target it as a lead, which means any of those buttons could get pressed because it's a little bit of a cheaper result. It almost predominantly ends up being Spotify regardless. Yeah. But I've seen. I mean, I was not doing very great. I was not doing very well on Apple Music, but my Apple Music, I mean, it's like, it's quadrupled in the last month since I started doing this.
Yeah. Okay. Sick.
And before that, I was just doing playlisting, which we can get into also if you guys want to talk about.
I want to save that for a minute because you guys have been given some like amazing ninja skills on Facebook to Spotify marketing, and obviously Instagram's under the Facebook umbrella. So let's right now assume that our main listener has never run a Facebook ad, and let's just start with some basics about what is the Facebook Ads Manager and what is a Facebook Pixel, and how do you utilize these basic tools to begin an ads campaign?
Yeah, sure. You want to start?
Yeah, I'll go for it. So basically the Facebook Ads Manager is the platform in which you create and manage your ads that go to Facebook, and because Facebook owns Instagram as well. There's a couple other ones in there that there's like Instagram Messenger or Facebook Messenger, and then traffic, whatever something network. I forget what
the affiliate Facebook affiliate network.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole bunch of other sites that are
so it ends up in more places than just Facebook is what I'm getting at. And you basically create your campaigns on there. You can create different ads that target different sections of the population under the same campaign, and you can create different specific ads and copy within each of those different segments. So that's campaigns, ad sets, and ads if you're looking at the Ads Manager. So that's the high level overview of how it looks and what it does. But
in order to get one, you would need to have a Facebook business page set up.
I needed
your Ads Manager. Just making sure. I mean, some folks have been trying to run Facebook ads and need help figuring out how to better do it. And some people have never run one, and this is the first time they're thinking about it. So I just want to make sure that we just cover those basics. Like, hey, if you're completely lost and don't even know where to find this, make sure you have a business page for your artist profile and set up your Ads Manager from there, and then everything we're saying is going to start making more sense. You can actually look at it and listen along.
So here's what I would interject, like, to simplify. Step one, make good music that people want to listen to. Step two, honestly, like, I don't. What is our liberty to like actually name drop specific services that assist with this kind of stuff?
Much as you want, man. If you think they're worth using or worth avoiding, feel free to talk about them.
So So yeah, there's been this massive wave of Spotify tutorials that have come out in the last year. And it's because all of these digital marketing agencies were ultimately trying to figure out the best way to use ads to actually increase Spotify numbers. And it became pretty standard practice. They did all the testing. They're not selling you this out of nowhere. They did the testing and they figured out that running direct to Spotify ads through Instagram story ads, through a Facebook business manager is settled. It's ultimately the best way to do it. It's the best practice, all this other stuff. If you start looking for these programs, you will start getting advertised from these programs in your Facebook newsfeed. And honestly, right now, most of them are like $35-$40. And we could walk you through exactly what means what and how to do it here. You could also Google it and then piece it all together simultaneously. I would just pay the $35 or $40 and just do the shit because they'll give you downloadables. They'll actually walk you through setting up an ad and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
The service I really, really like, and I'm shouting him out because the guy that started it has actually become the homie. We just message, we argue a lot, but he's a really good guy. And he's good dude. I want to shout out his service anytime he does it. It's called Indepreneur.
Shout out.
Yeah. And Circamoto is the guy that started it. He's the one that does the tutorials and the classes, and he can deconstruct everything that I learned. I signed up for it because he was doing a deal recently where like you could get his initial course for like $10 or something like that. Like right when like all the shutdown happened and the economy crashed, and I was just like, fuck it, I'll do it. And all the things that I learned trial by fire and just doing that were disparate and scattered and just all over the place. He has organized in an incredibly explanatory, processional, and methodical and relatable and understandable program where he's gonna teach you all this stuff. It's a great resource. The monthly membership is $37. Big time plug for that right now. I honestly can't recommend it enough. You're not locked into anything too. If you have it for a month and then want to cancel, that's totally fine. But he has a Spotify training. They also have just a general, what do you call it? They have a general, they have a couple of courses that are just like the thing I was talking about earlier about like what it ultimately, your job is to find fans and the psychology behind why somebody becomes a fan and why Facebook ads are so effective.
The buddy system and the fan finder method, I think, are those two initial courses they offer.
Yeah. And again, like you can buy them individually. I just do the monthly membership. I get paid by companies to run digital ads. I'm still a monthly member because I like it and I like to go back and I like to look at it. I get something out of it every time. So doing one of those, I think, is your best bet. And then if you still have questions in process, you got 4 people here in this thing right here. Just hit us up and we'll just. I mean, I'll get on the phone with anybody anytime. I'll get on a chat with anybody anytime and walk them through setting up an ad.
Yeah, like I knew next to nothing about Facebook advertising like in April. Actually, like that's when we had that call about the release that we did. That was the spark. Mm-hmm. That was the spark. I was like, okay, I know all the basics. I need to game this shit. I need all the answers for all the different things. And so I just started buying these courses. So, if anyone wants me to walk them through what my favorites were, what modules or like how, whatever, just hit me up on any social. Rip Kenny, I got you. I'll walk you through all of it. No knowledge to enough knowledge to be dangerous in 3 months. So
you become a master when you teach. Right? You become a master of something when you teach how to do that thing. So,
amen. And I just want to give a big shout out to that co-release they're talking about. Sam and I came out with the track called "Do It For Me," and then we held a remix contest through Producer Dojo, and Rip Kenny had one of the absolute illest tracks that came out of that remix contest, along with
They were all
Flow
so
Form
good, bro.
and No Breaks and Munchie. And those 4 tracks were just so incredible that they actually ended up being an official Producer Dojo release approved by Ill Gates himself. So if you haven't heard that shit, make sure to go listen to that shit because those songs are bananas.
Bingo.
Yeah, for real. Every single one.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good.
Hey, I wanted to ask you a bit about your own music and some of the music videos you've done and stuff. What's the story behind No Egos? How did that come together? It's a crazy video, super silly, lots going on there. What was? Give us a little backstory.
So stupid, and I made it a year ago, and it was just time to drop it. Like at this point, that's the other thing too. I want to stress. I mean, dude, and I don't know if I know the right answer, but what I've learned is that I am much happier not believing that the next thing I make sure people know what's coming out. I hit them up. I mean, it's always nice to have a plan, yada, yada. Simultaneously, people's bandwidth is short. People are going through shit. You know, sometimes they don't care. So I've learned that I feel much better not believing that the next thing I'm going to drop is going to be the thing that blows up. And just dropping content because it's fun. And like, honestly, every time, I don't know what it is, spiritual law of the universe or whatever, some bullshit like that. Like the less I care about it or like the less I emotionally stress about the next thing that's dropping, the better it does every time. That being said, yeah, No Egos is wild. Honestly, that's 100% Steven Treba. That's the guy that I work with on video. We've done a lot of videos together. He's
also
wild.
an amazing artist, goes by Alter. If you follow him, Alter X, your ex ego. Fucking that dude is so dope at so many things. Shouts out to Stephen True, but we got to have him.
Yeah, Alter. I mean, that's just the guy, man. That's the guy. Like he. Yeah, he's wild. He's wild. He's tapped in. He's tapped in.
What's your favorite project you guys have worked on?
Us Together. I mean, project.
We can go there. Yeah.
Yeah. Us Together or him and Steven?
I was gonna say him and Steven, but let's
there
talk
first.
about it. Yeah, after.
Yeah. Going back to No Egos, he had this wild idea. I am somebody who I have a budget for when I make a video. I don't actually want to think about it. I honestly want the director to have creative freedom, and that song is very bright and vibey and kind of wild. And we just wanted to. It was like the end of summer, and we just wanted to do something really stupid and wild. And he wanted to play with editing, and I just said, "Go for it, man." And then I dropped it in the middle of a pandemic when the entire political system is collapsing on itself. And it's just a weird vibe for right now, but it's a good video and I really like the song. So it's vibey as fuck, but maybe when we celebrate again one day. So I think, so my actual favorite thing that I've done with him in a personal sense is When You Fall. And it's the least amount of editing that we've ever done on a video. It's the least amount of flash that we've ever done in a video. And I just flew down a few months ago to do that with him. And for me, it was like, I've struggled mightily with, same thing with about being on stage. I've struggled with how to move and how to just kind of fall into the flow of things. I'm it's very weird. I have a lot of confidence and simultaneously I'm very like conscious of how I look on a camera and stuff like that. And if I look weird when I do this instead of, I mean, I'm an awkward white guy sometimes, you know what I mean? And I can tell I look like an awkward white guy sometimes. And that shit, we drove to a mountain, thunderstorm started, it started raining. That song really hits for me. And I just vibed and he just started rolling the camera. And he was like, dude, he's like shooting it he's like, this is so powerful. This is so powerful. That's the least fancy one that we've ever done, though. He didn't have to do that much work. He had to color correct it and do some transitions and just vibe with it. I think that the coolest thing we've done is Sharpen My Sword. I think Sharpen My Sword is just it's a fucking movie. It's an absolute movie. It's a whole, and that again, that was his genius. That was his direction, where it was like, hey, I kind of see you. I'm a producer. I know nothing about production. Okay, I was gonna say I'm a producer novice, but that's not really true because I don't do it. I don't do any production. There's a certain sound and sharp of my sword that's kind of like I don't know, like techno-y almost, like I don't know, just the way that the instrument is mixed. That's not a great adjective for it, but he was like, I don't just see this as like a fucking what was that show called? Game of Thrones. He's like, I don't just see this as like a Game of Thrones battle. I kind of see this as like a Matrix thing, where you're being fed all this information and you're having an awakening, and like you're training to go out in the world and be like the hero that the world needs, kind of a thing. And so like we're gonna do this back and forth with like you're in the Matrix and you're learning how to use a sword, and then at the end you'll pull the swords from the sheath and all that. It was so fucking fun. It was so cool. And this dude Josh Moons actually built the set for it. We had an entire set built for it, and he did a phenomenal job.
It looks
just
so
amazing. Cool. It's so cool. It's so cool, and it's such a meaningful song. So that I would say is the biggest production. Yeah.
That I got to give a shout out, that sound you're talking about. Like I was one of the producers on that track, but I had nothing to do with that amazing sound design. I helped put together the arrangement. I put in that sword sample, I'll give that. And that's from Spiderhound, just shouting out another homie. But the actual sound of that record is Chris Wells, my Bounce Gang brother out of Detroit. And then, and me and my guy, Good Bro, put together the rhythm track around it. And then Sam, you wrote the absolute hell out of that track, touched my soul. And yeah, shouts to Steven on that video, and you say Josh?
Josh did the Josh.
Oh my god, it looks so cool. It's like you're in the Matrix, man. It's like,
I mean, it's one of those things that like if Josh lived in LA, because like he was like, hey, like tell your friends about it. Like I want to do this for more people. And I'm like, dude, I'll tell everybody about it that you want, but like a lot of artists don't have a budget, like if you were in LA, you'd have a booming business, but you're in Seattle and there's a lot of talent, but it's not as much business infrastructure.
It's tough. That's one thing that I've had to definitely refocus my way of thinking in the last couple of years, or even just in the last fucking 3 months. Your artist project is a business, and if you're thinking that you can get a profitable business without spending any money on it, probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. Like maybe if you are making such good music that you're getting assigned to like an Ausla or a Monster Cat or something like that, this is going to break you. Yeah. Fantastic. But if you're not getting signed to a big label with a huge reach, and you got to start getting your stuff out there, and you got to make content for yourself that's going to be captivating, there's only so much you can do yourself. And you should be thinking about your disposable income and how can I invest this in my artist project. If you really want this to fucking happen, you have to think about how can I make a bunch of money to spend and get back to zero to make a bunch more money to spend on my artist project. If you're like, I can only spend $20 on my artist project, that's it, you ain't going to get anywhere. You have to really believe in yourself enough to spend your last dollar on your own project.
Is this hypothetical person you're talking about a slack-jawed yokel? That was good.
It might be.
$100.
He might be. I don't know, man. That's just the way that I used to think about it. That was honestly, that was a previous me in my own head.
Yeah.
I only got $20 spending on my artist project. That was my own Neanderthal self.
Yeah, look at
that
you.
Was enough.
Look at you guys, killing it.
Investing in yourself is so important. And so, obviously a lot of what we've been talking about has been, kind of structures that you've invested in to educate yourself, advertisements that you've educated yourself on how to do, and then actually spending the money to run them. What for somebody starting out, I mean, aside from we've already covered like get some training on entrepreneur or something like that, what kind of investment would you recommend people attempt to set up for themselves on a regular basis for advertising and for these other things?
So I want to tread carefully here, because like I am extremely sensitive to the fact that we're in a very, very weird time right now. And without getting too deep into it, I don't want to look at people and be like, you just got to get a job and spend money. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that's you might not have that option right now.
Yeah.
And even before this, you might not have lived in a place where you could really get a great job and spend a lot. And that's why I think it is about like controlling the things that you can control. And what you can control immediately is how hard you work and study in terms of making sure your music is really fucking good. And I'm just going to keep on saying that again and again. Simultaneously, the budget that you need to actually get your stuff out there and start making fans. I mean, do you have $5 a day? Honestly, like, do you have $5 a day?
We're talking one big latte per day.
Yeah. Do you have $5 a day?
One beer at a bar.
You know? And if you really don't have $5 a day, then like, honestly, you're probably in a position right now where you need to make music because you love making music. And if you're fucking good enough at it and you push hard enough and you write 700 emails a day and that thing gets in somebody's inbox and they hear it and you're persistent with it, like that is also a route that works. There absolutely, if you know, but $5 a day is a very, very, very acceptable starting budget, especially for like the fan finder method that gets preached, which is just like do a really low key video. Essentially the method is just do like a low key video of you like doing a song, like just playing your guitar and doing a song and run $5 a day on it and target people who you know, a similar artist, Post Malone or whatever. And just start interacting with the people that interact with your shit. It's really simple. That's you know, and you're building your data in the meantime, and then you can retarget with higher cost campaigns later and all that stuff. And so that's huge. One thing we did.
I think exactly.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say exactly what you touched on is correct. I think and the dollar amount, $5 a day, that seems to be a healthy starting place to get real results. But my honest reaction to the original question is that there's no right answer, because there's just no way to predict for your situation what you can spend. What I am going to say is that figure out, like you mentioned, it's a $5 latte a day, that instead of buying the coffee, you make coffee at your house and you spend that on Facebook ads, right? Like figure out whatever it is in your life on a consistent basis that you're willing to instead put into savings, or instead put into just a purely Facebook marketing or just advertising, or just general, like, even if you're like, fuck it, I don't even like Facebook advertising, but I really rock with this idea of with Sam working with a really cool director and cinematographer, and I want to save up $500 and find the best bang for my buck that I can make a super fucking cool video and then use my own guerrilla marketing to get it to people. Whatever it is, whatever you can decide to save regularly to put into your pocket to spend on your artist project, do it. And figure what that is for you. But the overall, whatever you're spending it on, just think of the investment that you're making in your artist project as really an investment in your future, rather than just, I don't know. It took a shift of thinking of it like a business, rather than like thinking that money was not going to come back at some point. Like it does, right? If you do believe in doing this long term. So figure out whatever it is that you can save on a consistent basis and then spend it on your artist project. That's really the answer.
Amen. Jinx. And, like you said, Sam, some folks are not currently in a position to spend a lot of money, but there's usually this balance beam in our life where either we've got a little bit of extra money or we've got a little bit of extra time.
Yeah.
And if you don't have one, heavily invest the other. If you can be, commenting back to everybody that comments on you, and making sure you hit every message and finding people who are commenting on other people's posts and starting genuine actual conversations to the point where you want to friend each other online, to the point where, hey, do you mind if I send you my new track? I would like to see if you dig it and if you could give me any pointers. People like to give their opinions on things, but they don't like to be spammed. So taking the time
relationship,
to start the real relationship of, hey, you're a person, I'm a person, this is social media, we're being social, and then eventually asking them if it's okay if they listen to your music. Yeah. Then the other way is that fan finder method, where you give them an advertisement that you paid for to show up where they already are in their feed, in their stories, whatever, and you give them something that feels organic to the platform, like a quick video of you jamming and singing your own song, or something really authentic that doesn't feel like this big produced product that's an ad being pushed down their throat. Something that be like, oh, this is cool, I'm going to hit the like button. And then retargeting the people that liked and interacted with that with your next ad that pulls them deeper into that funnel to the point where you can get them to click that link. And that brings up something that I wanted to ask you guys about, was ad retargeting. I know that it's possible to set up campaigns where the first ad feeds into subsequent ads. So people who fulfill a certain a certain requirement, like watched this percentage of a video or reacted or commented to that video, will then be put into the ad set, the people that you're showing the next ad to, and then qualifying your true fans to the point where you have a much more likely group of people to show an ad that you're actually asking them to click on something.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and that is the reality of, like, that is your ROI. That is your return on investment in the short term, is your data. It's not your money. Your money is paying to get you good data. And so when you put money into a campaign, Facebook's tech is automatically recording how many people are watching 25% of a video, 50% of a video, 75% of a video. How many people have clicked? How many people have clicked in the last 180 days? I mean, the possibilities are almost unlimited in terms of what you can then retarget. And the reason that it would help to do a course or play or do some Google searching and everything else is so that you can kind of know what to do when, which is always still even an uphill battle. But that's where your results begin to compound exponentially, because the potential is huge. When you have enough, so let's say you put a video and you put it on Facebook. I mean, you should always put it on YouTube also, but like you're going to try to like build the fan base on Facebook, and you post it, you post your video on your artist page on Facebook, and you put $5 a day behind it, and you run it for 3 weeks. And it gets thousands of views. And then you can create an audience in Facebook. You can create an audience, and you can say, everybody that watched 75% of my video. And then you have another song dropping, and a new song dropping, and you upload that. And then you can retarget those people who just watched that 75% of your video, because if somebody's watching 75% of your video, they're probably somebody that they liked enough of what you did that you can get them to like what you did again. And then you can target them again. Simultaneously, the real magic now is that when you've done that enough, you will have a really, really rich audience that is packed with data. And then you can create what is called a lookalike audience. And here's where the game gets wild. And this is why the investment on the front end is, the heavier you can invest on the front end of this thing, the quicker you can get to this lookalike audience to where your investment is much less for much more. Because now you can create, let's say 7,000 people have watched one of your videos. You can put all the videos that have ever been watched into one audience. 7,000 people have watched 75% of your videos. You can create a lookalike audience of that 7,000 people. And Facebook is automatically going to say who is the 1% of the population of the United States or Brazil or wherever you're targeting that most closely resembles that 7,000 people. And then you can do the 2% of the population that close. You can do all the way up to 10%. It's not really good once you get beyond 3 in my experience. Test it for yourself if you want. But the point is like, you got to think about it like this. So now I'm dropping the next video and I'm retargeting the 75%, or I'm the 75% viewers. I'm retargeting the 7,000 people, but then I've also put this other audience in here that is 2% of the entire American population whose behavior and preferences most closely resembles this 7,000 people. Now your results become exponential, and it's an automatic machine, because once a new person has engaged, once a new person has been, the lookalike audience has grabbed somebody new, and they've now watched 75% of your video, they now become the basis off of which that audience is being created. And the more and more people that get in there, the smarter that audience gets. And so it's people can hate Facebook all they want. And I remember when I started doing this a couple years ago, a lot of the cool kids were just like, it's not on Facebook. It's on like you shouldn't try to build your brand on Facebook. You should try to build it on Instagram. And I'm like, well, there are different tools that can be used for different things. They're technically in the same ads manager, yada, yada, yada. But the point is that the Facebook ads manager has more capacity to actually expand your base of people that are listening to your music than anything else that's ever been created, period. Like it's not even close. And it's relatively easy to use once you get over the hump. And once you do it a couple of times, and it's like, oh, okay. And then you're just plugging consistent content at $5 a day. You know?
Love it.
I want to circle back because I feel like we're nearing the end of this conversation. I want to circle back to something that you've mentioned a couple times that I've thought in my head I would reiterate at the start of every point that I've made this conversation, and I've forgotten. The best possible way to get the best possible return on any investment that you're making in all of these ad spends, in all of this effort, is to make sure that you're actually making undeniable music first.
Yeah.
That there's no other metric here that is going to help you more than making sure that if you do, by some miracle, fucking capture the attention of someone online with an ad, that they're going to be like, holy shit, I'm fucking stoked I stumbled upon this guy through an ad. And I love that. I don't care that it was an ad that I found him through. I love this guy.
Yeah.
That's the reaction that you want. But you don't get that. If you're thinking that you can game the system with music that isn't ready, it's not going to be worth it.
I've tried. Doesn't work.
Yeah.
And
me too.
there's a lot to be said for waiting until your music is dope, because once you understand how to make dope music, if you've been writing a ton of music and you keep writing and this one's a little better, record it, get it mixed, figure it out, get better. If you're, a DJ producer and you're mixing your own products, you get better and better at writing and rewriting and mixing. And then eventually you really hit your stride and you figure out like, oh, this is how I make dope music. This is the formula. This is like my mix template. This is all this. I got it. Or if you're an artist, you finally find that engineer that really gets your sound. You really understand how to deliver in the mic booth. Then you can look back at this enormous pile of music you have made and not released and cherry pick all of the best ideas out of it and run them through your current system. I'm currently doing that with a lot of my favorite tracks I wrote 2 years ago and getting them ready to be singles. I know Sam for sure is doing that on some tracks we started working on together 2 years ago that were like, man, this is a dope song. It's one of the best ones we've ever written, but it never quite materialized how we envisioned it. So we held off, put other stuff out that was more ready. And now all of a sudden, between me understanding how to better put the beat together, Sam understanding how to better write it to say what he wants to say and perform it how he wants to perform it, and him having an engineer that really gets how to put that all together, now that song is 10 times what it would have been had we tried to force it out 2 years ago. Thank God we waited and left it in the pile so it could be sitting there shining like a little gem waiting to be polished.
And I do just want to add this too real quick is I think a lot of people, I think it's very natural to have the thing in your head, the alarm clock in your head, like there is a timeline on which all of this has to happen. I know I had it. I didn't even start making music until I was 26 years old. It was a pipe dream. After going through a bunch of shit in life and deciding I wanted to swing at something, I decided to take a swing. And so I was like, man, if I don't blow up international by the time I'm 29, like who's like the oldest guy to blow up? Like Macklemore at 31 or Tech Nine at 34. You know what I mean? Tech Nine's like 70 years old. People don't realize that.
He's so old. He just put out a new song with Hollywood Undead that's fucking sick, by the way.
Yeah, no. I mean, amazing. Great career. I mean, like great infrastructure. Yeah. Tech's great. But I had this thing in my head that was like, no, like it had like, and the truth is, I turned 32 a few weeks ago.
Woo.
I make the best music I've ever made. It's genuinely good enough to where I can actually listen to it and forget that it's me and be like, that's a fucking good song. And I'm having a blast. And I have more actual fans every week than I had, the week before that. If you're making good music and people like what you're doing, none of that shit matters. It really doesn't. It matters if their ears hear it and they go, oh, fucking A, I need to hear that again. That's it. So again, that's what I preach the most of is like, if I could have taken like 4 years to just like not worry about, I need to drop all of this music, some of which has some nice moments, but overall, my delivery is meh here. I forced a bar here. That's just find the joy in the struggle and get good at it. And then get better. Cause like, I'm not, I love my music now, but I still, each time I'm like, that could have done that. Ooh, next time I want to do this.
Definitely.
That self-reflection is so valuable.
Yeah. I think that's a perfect way to wrap up. I couldn't have tied a bow on it better myself. That was a great encapsulation of all of the stuff that we've talked about. I feel like we just fucking barely scratched the surface on the intricacies of your brain, which I know has more treasure chests in there. We're definitely gonna have you on for a part 2 sometime, man.
Yeah, amen. And to close it out, man, plug your pluggables, man. This will drop 2 weeks from today, so I know you'll have. I think you'll have another single out. So tell them about the new.
We have a song coming out.
Hey.
So we have a song coming out. I gotta load it to distro still, but it's gonna come out a week from Friday. So listen to the song that just came out the other day.
Tell them what's it called.
All right. Let's get a group conscience right here. I've gone back and forth on it. I think I've settled on I just like Go. That's the song title. Go. Yeah?
I think so too, man. Yeah, that's how
I think it's better than I Go.
Yeah.
So I go, whoa, whoa. I think Go. So
Go.
We have a track dropping. It's called Go. It's honestly unlike anything sound wise that I've done yet. It's got some Mac Miller vibe. It's bright. It's happy. It's got some throwback rap vibes and it throwback like golden age hip hop vibes. And it's it's great. I'm so excited about it. So we got that. My socials, all of them are at Sam X Shoemaker. Follow me on those. That's cool. Feel free to send me a message. That's about it. I'm finally stacked on content and capacity now to where I will be releasing a new song every 2 weeks for the foreseeable future. Now I said that last time, and then COVID hit, and then everything shut down, and everybody else's life fell apart, and I was still solid, but nobody else could help me do what I needed to do. So we'll see. God's plan. But
And as far as goes, gotta shout out my Bounce Gang brother, D. Professor Desmond Mason. He's one of the best producers I know. He won Beats to the Beats in Miami last year that I was at, and he is an amazing keyboardist. And he laid down some crazy key samples that I flipped for that beat. So shouts
we gotta make another one soon,
Professor. Yeah, amen.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I had a blast. I really did. I learned a lot today too. Yeah, I definitely look forward to doing this again.
Yeah, likewise.
Fuck yeah.
Amen. All right. Peace, humans. Peace among worlds.
I like it.
What's up, humans? It's Luke, your friendly neighborhood Trap Jesus. Thank you so much for watching our videos. We appreciate you. Remember to like and subscribe to our channels. And if you have any questions or topics that we need to cover on the show, put them in the comments. Appreciate you. Peace and peace among worlds.